field. Jeff Bryant, number 77, in on the stop. And this Seattle defense has really been helped by the change to the 4-3. They seem more physically suited to it.
They really do, Mike. You know, they're not that fast necessarily up front. They're a little long in the tooth, as you mentioned. Jacob Green, after 11 years, having a good year. It gives them an opportunity to get penetration and have that extra defensive man there for pursuit.
The other thing, if they're playing the 34, they don't have 4 linebackers. Not that they want in there. 2nd and 8. Humphrey ran into his own man, went down at midfield. The reason he ran into his own man is Joe Nash was in the backfield.
Well, you know, you got to give the tackle to Keith Karts, his center. I mean, that's really who made the tackle. Bobby comes across on an overdraw. They try and get the linebackers to drop back. Now, watch this. See how he sets around? Okay. Now the center comes around to block, and all of a sudden, he's tackled. Joe Nash does a good job to run him back into his own center.
Humphrey has not been the same since an ankle injury. Had 400-yard games before he was hurt, none since. They go to 4 wide receivers and Steve Sewell in the backfield. 3rd and 8, 4-man rush. Elway rifles complete. Jackson, first down at the Seattle 40-yard line. Joe Nash all the way back after the pass rush, chasing downfield to make the stop.
Like Randall Cunningham, John Elway presents a lot of problems for defenses with his running ability. There's Nesby Glasgow. Wherever Elway's going to go, he's going to mirror him all over. Now you watch as Elway steps up into the pocket. Number 22 is just hanging. He says, "You're mine, John." He closes the gap, which is very good. You make him commit. Let him beat you throwing the ball, not running.
Humphrey on the toss. Tries to cut it back inside. Glasgow came up in a hurry. Got a shoulder into him. They'll spot it at the 36. And Bobby Humphrey will be at the Pro Bowl, as we will also in the first week in February. A little different.
Yeah, driving conditions than here.
No, there are no driving conditions here.
They're non-existent. The only way you can drive here is if you park your car and own a sleigh with a wheel.
As a snowstorm. Seattle football, or Denver football in Seattle territory, that is. Elway to Clarence Kay. They force him out of bounds just shy of the first down sticks. Once again, Nesby Glasgow on the tackle. Dave Aarons had to be helped off the field, and they led him toward the locker room. He's been replaced by Ricky Andrews, as you see Clarence Kay coming back in.
Taking on Clarence Kay. Now watch his right ankle. He gets hung up under his own player. Tony Woods lands on it, and then the pile comes up on top of it and bends it back down.
There's Aarons being assisted to the locker room, and right now, David Wyman is the only Seattle linebacker who is not a free agent. 3rd and short. Elway rifles one, incomplete, intended for Jackson. He was covered by Dwayne Harper. And here comes the field goal unit. And
you know, it's interesting, Mike. That is the down when Dan Reeves got John Elway involved in the offense after he went public with his dissatisfaction the way things were going. He got involved in 3rd down passing and just passing in general. And he says having that extra day of film study has just made him feel more confident about what plays he feels comfortable with.
Treadwell will try from 49. It would match his season long. And it's good. So Treadwell with a 49-yarder puts the Denver Broncos on top 3-0.
Well, you've seen about the max for Dave Treadwell. Not a big rush. You want to protect against it's 3rd and short, so you want to push people up the middle, let your outside guys hang back in case of a fake. And then if you're the kicker, you just do anything you can to inch it over. Not by a lot, but it doesn't have to go. As we saw in the Redskin game last night, if you hit the bar right, it's going to bounce right over.
We talked about Seattle's trouble at linebacker. Let's take a look at what they have. Jefferson and Warren are back to take the kick.
Okay.
Jefferson at the 6. And he's brought down after he crosses the 25-yard line. David Craig will come out as Seattle's quarterback, not having his best year. More interceptions than touchdown passes, only one 300-yard game. The underappreciated John L. Williams, one of the best backs in the game. He has more than 600 yards rushing and 600 receiving. Andy Heck has been their most consistent lineman. The former #1 pick has Pro Bowl potential. John L. Williams behind Fenner. Tried to spin out of a tackle, picks up a couple. The Denver defense has struggled this year. Greg Cragen, an undersized nose man, he plays hard every down. He had a Pro Bowl season last year. The most respected Bronco defender, Carl Mecklenburg. He's been moved back inside where he'll be in on more plays. Steve Atwater is the Pro Bowl safety. He leads the team in tackles, and with Dennis Smith, forms quite a combo back there. Smith also going to the Pro Bowl in Honolulu. Second down, 9 yards to go. In the first meeting of these teams, they ran Derek Fenner right up the middle all day long. Fenner in the eye. And Fenner will get the call. 40, 45-yard line. Atwater shoved him out of bounds. In that opening meeting, 22 carries, 144 yards for Derek Fenner.
Well, it seems like what Seattle wants to do is they'll say, all right, if you want to bring Mecklenburg back inside, we're just going to go off the right side. We'll run off the tackles here. Good job of locking up on people by their offensive line. John L. Williams gets a big block. Oh, he gets a pancake on Dennis Smith. Puts him right on his back. Big block by John L.
You don't think Fenner is enjoying this? He's making $75,000 this year, and it's contract time. First and 10 Seattle, their own 44. John L. dives forward to the 47-yard line.
If an offense can do what Seattle's doing now, control 1st and 10, come up with 2nd down and 6, maybe break one, it forces that Denver defense to have to bring more people closer to the line of scrimmage, and then it should open up your passing game. It works in a sequence. Now, this is the best scenario for Seattle on offense.
Dear Santa, it's that time, and they've got a shot. Seattle at 7-7. Chris Warren comes in to the backfield. He's number 42. And he'll get the carry. This kid is a real physical specimen. Gets it out to the 48-yard line. He's out of Ferrum College. Ron Holmes made the stop. You really liked what you saw in practice of him the other day, didn't you?
I do. I think this guy here, watching him work in practice, is one of the finest physical specimens I have seen as I've traveled around the league. The one thing that Chuck has said he's had to learn, he's got to learn how to take his study habits home. He's got to take some film. He's got to study. I think the small college atmosphere has affected his transition into professional football. But when he learns how to play, he's going to put some numbers up that'll be big.
He's been an excellent kickoff return man this year. Craig throwing in the flat, contact. Scansey was out there, covered by Kip Corrington. No flag. The crowd wanted one. Scansey went down before the ball got there.
Kip says, I didn't do anything. What's everybody looking at me for? David steps up, fires the ball out to the right. And it really looks like they just got tangled up with the feet. Of course, Paul comes up and says, hey, you know, I don't play this thing on my knees.
Rick Donnelly, 6th in the conference, will punt to Kevin Clark. And the boo is because they're replaying that play on the big screen here in Seattle. They didn't like it the second time they saw it. Not a good kick. But it takes a nice Seattle bounce. The beauty of artificial turf. All the way to the 5-yard line. No return after a punt of 47 yards. Here, I mean, a lot of people that root for the Seahawks and come to the Kingdome have to drive a long way, and that's a monster assignment tonight. Humphrey trying to get some running room, not much, maybe a yard, brought down by Jacob Green.
I'm a firm believer at this point on the field, you got second down and long. I would have liked to seen it happen on 1st and 10. It didn't. Run some kind of play action pass and take a shot with one of your speed receivers. The defense has got to defend 95 yards. Put them on the defensive. Stretch them out. Make them get a little scared. I mean, to pound it out here just to get punting position is defensive, offensive play.
The numbers on Elway against Seattle. He has had a wonderful career against the Seahawks defense. Humphrey again behind Porter near the 10. Woods and Bryant brought him down. Well, you quarterbacks are all alike. You know, their 1 yard line, our 1 yard line. Let's air it out.
Doesn't matter. Throw. Here's Tony Woods, who's been moved down to the defensive end position from linebacker. Put a little weight on, using his quickness. He's become that bend individual, the backer in the end on the right side.
3rd and 5, Denver. They'll stop the play. We'll check the penalty for you.
False start, 76.
That's Ken Lanier, the veteran right tackle. He had Jacob Green coming hard on the outside and moved early. So it's 3rd and 10 back at the original line of scrimmage.
Number 22 right in the middle of your screen. Looks like he's going to be the guy responsible for John Elway, sort of a personal guardian.
Elway one-hands the snap back, another flag. And some pushing and shoving inside. Jacob Green really coming hard the last couple of plays.
It's a tough stadium to communicate to your offensive lineman. I played here.
False start, number 6'9". Still 3rd down.
Darrell Hamilton, left tackle, so they're even.
Well, you see, the thing is the tackles really get outside the voice of the quarterback. Watch the left side. Watch him rock back. See him rock? Now the ball comes a little bit late. John's just going to reach out and grab it with one hand because he knows the flag's gone up.
Well, they'll put it back near the 2 now, and it's 3rd and 12.
Now they've got all that field to defend.
Shovel to Sewell, and Jacob Green was right there. He wasn't fooled for a second. Sewell took the little shovel pass, and Green, who had come so hard on the outside the last 2 plays, crashed down inside, made the stop.
When you have defensive backs or nickel backs responsible for the quarterback, the defensive line does not have to play the option. They can close in like Green did on Sewell that time and strictly play the back, or in that case, the shovel pass.
Well, that was just recognition on the part of Jacob Green. He took one step inside and say, wait a minute, everybody's going the other way. Chris Warren back to receive the punt of Mike Moran. Not a long kick, and Warren won't get there. Touched by one of the Broncos and then down. And it will be all the way back at the 42-yard line. A punt of only 37 yards. And now we've got more pushing and shoving. We told you the frustration for the Denver Broncos with the season they've had, and Seattle is really pumped because they still have a shot for the playoffs. It's 3-0 Denver. We'll be back.
In Southern California, there's a snowstorm out here. Let's get this straightened away.
David Craig takes over at the 42. John L. Williams, the single setback. Play action. Craig drops it to Ron Heller. The tight end pulls his way down to the 30-yard line. Lucas made the tackle. Gain of 13.
That's what that run does for you on 1st and 10. I mean, if you can gain any kind of yards on 1st and 10, it places the defense at such a disadvantage. Now, here's the difference in the 2 years. The rushing is much. The passing yardage is incredibly higher. The points they've given up is darn near twice as much. And the takeaways, to me, is the one that jumps out the most. If you can't take the ball away from people, they're going to score points on you.
Seems that last year, every time they gambled, they won. This year, they gamble, they lose. Fenner back in there, but John L. Williams gets the ball. Nice cutback. First down and more. Dennis Smith knocked him down, but not before he reached the 16 this time. A gain of 14.
We've talked about the problem Seattle had on defense with linebackers. Denver's got that problem right there. They're playing too deep. There's the corners. Here's the safeties. You have no run supports right on that particular area. So what happens is just outside the tight end or the tackle, there's no cornerback or safety there to be able to come up and support against the run. That's why it's so easy to run against two deep zones.
Another first down. John L. again, another cutback. Got away from Mecklenburg, flagged down as he reaches the 10-yard line. We talked about Mecklenburg. They had been using him outside, and the preliminary call a hold against Seattle. Mecklenburg had been outside, and they wanted to get a better pass rush from him. But what happened is teams ran away from him. He was not so much involved in the defense. Now he's back inside, and it's really made a difference.
It's made a difference in the running game, but again, you're sacrificing something because you're not getting that kind of pass rush. If you had Simon Fletcher and Carl Mecklenburg on the same side, like we've seen in the league, when you get the two guys, Bruce Smith, Cornelius Bennett, Lawrence Taylor, Leonard Marshall in their prime, the combinations is where the sacks jump up from that right side.
Of course, they've had injury problems on their linebacking core, too. Now first and 20. Holmes was offsides. Here's Fenner. Looked like a free play, and Fenner's all the way down to the 15-yard line. The safety, Smith and Atwater, came up to sandwich him. We'll see if Holmes was drawn off.
All those years, Jim Tunney's been a referee, one of the best referees in football. Went to a luncheon today with him and the officials in this officiating crew threw a little lunch for the Boys and Girls Club here in the area, just as a little Christmas present.
That's great.
Yeah.
Offside defense. Number 90. Penalty is declined. Declined. It'll be second down.
The natural tendency when a guy jumps this far offsides is to stop. David Craig does a great job. He keeps the play going. The offensive line, they just screen people, and Fenner just says, heck, nobody's here. I'll just keep running.
So it's second and 10. John L. again. Brown chuck at its best. And John L. all the way to the 7. He is the first alternate to the Pro Bowl, and if he makes it, and he probably will, he will be the only Seahawk in the Pro Bowl.
Well, it's that type of a football team. David Craig is gone because other quarterbacks haven't gone in the past. But this is a total team. No real stars other than maybe John L. That name jumps out at you. And that's really the way it's been here in Seattle. They haven't won the championship, so they don't get that public recognition around the country.
In his 5th year already, the 4th all-time Seahawks rusher, 3rd and a yard. Fenner, first down. Needed to get inside the 6. He made the 5. And Chuck Knox told us the other day, we want to come out and try to establish the run again. You remember at the beginning of the season when people were saying, Seattle's going to go to the run and shoot. And the rest of us stood around with our mouths open saying, Chuck Knox, run and shoot? You got to be kidding.
They did. They went to the run, shoot. You know, if you say it, run, shoot, I mean, that's what they're doing. The shoot is very minimal. The run is very big.
Boy, he's done a brilliant coaching job this year. He truly has. First and goal, Seahawks. John L. Not this time. Second effort got him to the 3. And more pushing and shoving. The report on Dave Aarons for Seattle, by the way, he has a broken fibula. And he is gone. And the linebacking core, it's unbelievable what's happening to Seattle.
They wind up with safeties playing linebackers for them. I mean, it destroys what you try and do on 1st and 10, because that's where you need your bigger people into defense against the run. Now, they talk about the fibula being a non-weight-bearing bone. I've broken that one, as well as the others. It hurts.
Second and goal. Benner had his blocker, John L. Williams, going outside, decided to cut it back inside, just made the line of scrimmage, and for the second play in a row, Michael Brooks made the tackle. Brooks is another linebacker that they moved. They moved him inside, and he's had a very good year with it.
That's been the one move from the linebackers with Fletcher and Mecklenburg that has really paid off for him. He's the guy, I think, that really has made a big difference inside. If they could have kept Carl Mecklenburg in there, they wouldn't have had the trouble people running against him all year.
He had, there you see, 20 tackles in the first meeting. Third and goal from the 3. Craig tries to run. Now he throws and throws it behind Blades, who was wide open. So many times Craig is really successful with the scrambles and the little touch passes. Not that time.
They just have had, last week they didn't get it in hardly at all, just a couple times in 6 tries. David does an excellent job buying time. Now he just hangs it out, and Benny just can't come back. That's the toughest throw when, Brian, excuse me, not Benny, Brian. That's the toughest throw when you're moving one way and the receiver's moving the other. It's very difficult to gauge distance.
Norm Johnson, who plinked a couple off the uprights last week, will go for the tying field goal and drills this one. Johnson now 20 out of 29 on the season. And with 18 seconds to go in the first quarter from Seattle, we're tied at 3. Clark a yard deep, and he'll stay in at the urging of Blake Ezor. Be sure to be with us. Elway had it batted down by Woods. Usually you say he got a hand on it. He got a chest on it.
Chest, elbow, face. I mean, that's an in-your-face jam. That's what that is. That's where you read the Spalding across, or the Wilson, excuse me, the Wilson across his forearms. It's Spalding in other sports. Watch him get up in the air. This is a very intelligent. You rush as far as you can, and as the quarterback starts to load, then you go up in the air and commit. And if you have to, you bring your arms around so that you can catch it on either side.
Second and 10. Elway wanted to dump it and couldn't. Now throws back to the other side of the field. Wide open is Jackson. Glasgow takes him out of bounds at the 49. That's the end of the first period with a 29-yard strike from John Elway to Mark Jackson. Our score at the end of the first period from Seattle is 3-3. Second quarter. Denver with the ball. First and 10 at its own 49. Play action to Humphrey. Same play they started the game with. Woods after Elway. And John airmails this one into the front row.
After that meeting that Elway had with Dan Reeves, which was prompted by his conversation with a reporter in Denver, a lot of things got cleared up. For example, Dan Reeves said when John would come over to the sidelines after a series, he would go sit by himself. He never came over and told me whether he liked the play, he didn't like the play, whether he was mad at himself or mad at the receivers. Now the lines of communication have opened up a lot more.
And Elway has done an outstanding job in the last 4 weeks, completing nearly 2/3 of his passes. Cortez Kennedy is into the Seattle lineup in the defensive line. Their first-round draft choice. Blitz, the pass to Porter, incomplete. Andrews was there on the coverage. And you would expect Andrews is going to have to go the whole game if he can for the injured Dave Aarons. Except in the nickel spots when they take him out, and Cortez Kennedy will come out on 3rd and 10.
You know, he said what really hurt him was not coming in, and Chuck Knox said
in training camp.
In training camp, the thing about Cortez Kennedy is he lost all that practice time in pass rush techniques. That's the one area he's behind in.
But he is going to be a player. Here comes the blitz. Glasgow can't get there, pass caught. What a catch by Young at the 40-yard line. And he was drilled. And it's been quite a season for Michael Young. He's already had a career high in receptions and touchdowns.
if you're going to defend John Elway, here comes Nesby Glasgow. He's just going to come inside. If Elway's here, he's going to come after him and put pressure on him. He's assigned to him as a spy. Now he just closes the gap. Elway hangs in the pocket. It's just a great catch.
Oh.
I mean, that's just a great football catch. Elway does get it off, but Young just makes a sensational catch.
Humphrey trying to turn the corner. Boy, nice job out there by Kane. He just wasn't having any of it. Out of Oregon Tech.
When a football team defensively wants to chase the ball like Seattle does as a unit, you always keep in the back of your mind as a quarterback, I want to run the reverse back. Serves two purposes. Number one, probably pick up a big game. Secondly, make them stay home a little more and open up the holes to run to.
Give him a gain of a yard on the last play. 2nd and 9. Humphrey on the delay. Robinson got him around the ankles and brought him down at the 34-yard line. You're gonna need those gloves, pal. Want to keep them close. I know why everybody showed up tonight. Not only are they Seahawks fans, they wanted to find some place that was warm.
It's true. A lot of power out around the state of Washington.
There are some homes out here that they're saying they're not going to get power back until tomorrow. The storm was last Tuesday. 3rd and 4. Elway throws complete to Johnson at the 29-yard line. He has a first down. You don't hear much talk anymore about the three amigos, do you?
No, they're the three guys gone south is what it is. They've been nicked up a lot, haven't played together in quite a few years because of injuries. Of course, Ricky Nattiel nicked up a lot. This one, Vance Johnson just runs in the middle, sits down, knows exactly where he has to get to with the first down. I mean, he had 50 catches coming into this game, or that was his 50th catch. So, I mean, it's not that he's been ignored, but as a trio, they haven't lit it up like they had in the past.
He had his best game this year against Seattle in the first meeting with 9 catches. I'm going to reset Humphrey and give him the ball. Oh. I don't think the audible fooled anybody. The entire Seattle defense was waiting in the number 5 hole. Take a look at the Budweiser storyline from Seattle with our 3-3 score. Elway with some pretty impressive first half numbers. Denver, goal-to-go defense, 3 plays, 3 yards. Seattle, 10 carries, 59 yards. They came out running early, and the average start in the battle of field position, it has been all Seattle. Here it's 2nd and 8 for Denver. Elway with all day. Flag is down. Elway throws late, knocked down in the end zone. Intended for Johnson and knocked away by Patrick Hunter.
There's only so much an offensive lineman can do.
Yeah.
When they feel like they're losing somebody, they're going to try and latch on. That time, instead of John sitting in the pocket as long as he did, as soon as receivers were covered, if he flushes, it actually helps the offensive lineman. They now see and read the defensive guy, and they say, oh, geez, he's going. I better move too.
Holding, 79. 10 yards, still 2nd down.
Dave Wydell, the left guard that they picked up in the trade from Dallas. He and Doug are the guards, his brother.
There he is on the right side of your screen, number 79, hanging on, doing the best he can to help out. You never get mad at an offensive lineman. I mean, and everybody says, why didn't he throw the ball to Clarence K? Quarterbacks, when they're scrambling, looking for the big play.
2nd and 18. The Wydell brothers, only the 6th brother combination to play together in the history of this league. Early movement by the Broncos. They'll kill the play. It looked like the left tackle, Darrell Hamilton, for the 2nd time this game.
What the Broncos are going to have to do is they're going to have to get in the huddle and go on a rhythmic count, or else tell the tackles, which is hard to do, look at the ball. They really can't
Ball start, number 69, still 2nd down.
What Elway's going to have to do is get everybody and say, listen, we're going to go on a silent count because you can't hear me anyway. As soon as the center gets his hands on the ball, everybody count 1 1,000, 2 1,000, snap. That's the only way they're going to solve these illegal procedure penalties.
Denver has already had 4 penalties for 22 yards. All have been called against the offensive line. Now it's 2nd and 23. And even though it is not a full house here in Seattle because of the weather, it's close, and these people make a lot of noise. Elway guns it over the middle, intended for Johnson, incomplete. He had James Jefferson, their nickelback, in there right on his rear end. Joe, it looked like they did go with the silent count on the last.
They have to. It's the only way you can handle it. A lot of teams practice, and I'm sure Denver does. You can't really prepare for the magnitude of noise unless you get a loudspeaker, and it just doesn't work because in the heat of action, that tackle's got to be conscious of that defensive lineman coming.
Now 3rd and 23. Elway count to 1,000, throws low. Jackson made the catch, and then he's belted out of bounds, short of a first down.
I think you got to do this more with John Elway. This is when I played, we had a play called a dash, is where you drop back in the middle, bring the defensive lineman. Say they want to bring the defensive lineman in, and then what they want to do is then roll outside and buy some time in the pocket. Elway is one of those few guys. Now watch, he's looking to his right. Now watch how he looks back to the left. He's one of the few guys who can actually make that throw. But then he settles on just a mild completion down on the sidelines to Mark Jackson. See how he looks back to his left? He actually is the only guy who can look and have somebody take him seriously and say, yeah, he'll throw it there. If I look there, everybody laughs, say, he's not going to throw it back
now,
there.
Now, Blackman gets hurt on this. It looks like Jackson would have been the guy that was hurt. He was drilled, but Blackman is still down on his knees on the sideline. We'll check on his condition when we come back. Timeout with 11:49. This time he'll try from 50. Not this time.
We found his max, 49.
Little wry smile on his face.
Yeah, that's it. That's as far as he can hit it. I mean, it's a 49-yarder. That's as far as he can hit it. He gets everything into it. He's built like a 1-iron. Good hold by Gary Kubiak. And I also think kicking off of the artificial surface, when you bring your foot through, it's got to grab a little bit. On grass, it'll slide a little bit more. Now, he knows it's on line. Oh, gee. Oh, well. That's not a look of disgust. That's a look of, oh, shucks.
Former Pro Bowl kicker. So with 10:51 and counting, Seattle takes over at its own 32. Play action to Fenner. Craig rifles this one complete to Heller at the 43. Atwater and Brooks make the tackle. Gain of 10, and it should be enough for the first down.
Two ways to attack a double zone. You throw to your backs and tight ends, working on the linebackers, and you also run at the corners, and we've seen Seattle do both tonight. Nice hand catch by Heller. Gets down, takes the shot from Atwater.
The Seattle offensive line has been much maligned, but they have done a very good job tonight, and they're missing Edwin Bailey, their veteran left guard. He has Derek Brills in for him. Fenner. Not much this time. Tim Lucas was right there, the first man to make the hit.
Talked about the adjustment that Denver's going to have to make to try and shut down this running game. Right there. There's Atwater. He was normally back here. Corner, safety. He's moved up to get more involved in the running game. Now, in this case, they run away. But you see with, now you have 8 people closer to the line of scrimmage who can be there to stop the run.
2nd and 10. Four-man rush. Craig in the flat to Williams. Nice job to get away from the first tackler. And then Mecklenburg takes him out of bounds along with Wyman Henderson, number 24. Hope you'll be with us for Bowl Week. Beginning Thursday, we have the Liberty Grounds in Jacksonville. Craig on third down, flush. John L. on the dump off. Nice play. Randy Robbins, normally a safety, has been forced to play corner because of all the injuries at the left corner spot, and he made the first down saving tackle. Until this year, he had not played corner since he was in college.
That's the one thing that guys that play safety and move out to corners do better than natural corners is tackle people. The natural corners cover well. The guys that are out there tackle better.
Rick Donnelly on to punt to Kevin Clark. Got a break on the first punt with a nice roll. Not a good kick off the side of his foot. And this one does not take a Seattle bounce all the way back to the 40-yard line. A punt of 13 yards for Rick Donnelly. There is a flag down on the play. Denver is indicating it is against Seattle.
I think they'll decline it. We want to give him another shot at it. Face mask against Denver.
Pointing toward Denver, and the Denver players really upset. They said, hey, it was the other way around. And now Jim Tunney says, wait a minute, we'll check it out.
Correction. Face mask foul was 94, Seattle.
So the kick will stand.
You know Jim would straighten it out.
Sure got a rise out of the Denver players, though.
Wasn't me. There's one where you plead your case and it works out. That very seldom happens.
Tunney still talking it over, and here's the final
Face
call.
mask, number 94 kicking team would have been penalized the previous spot. Denver has declined the penalty. We'll take it as the spot of the ball, first down.
Call on Rod Stevens, number 94, the backup linebacker. It is declined, and Denver will take over outside its own 40-yard line when we come back.
Merry Christmas. Go Seahawks.
3-3 at the Kingdome. Denver and Seattle, exactly 8 minutes to go. First half of play. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann with you. Catch up on the playoff picture. In the AFC, Buffalo wins the division. Miami is in as a wild card. In the Central, Pittsburgh can win the division if they can beat Houston in our ESPN game next Sunday night. Cincinnati and Houston still alive. In the West, the Raiders and Kansas City are in definitely as wild cards. Each could still win the division, and Seattle must win the last two and get some help to make the playoffs in 1990. Denver takes over first and 10 at its own 42. Elway almost intercepted. David Wyman, the middle linebacker, who had an interception a week ago, almost got his second one. Wyman was a guy who looked so forward to this season. He was going to get a chance to play middle linebacker, the spot he is best suited for, and he gets hurt and spends the first 8 weeks on IR.
And, you know, it's just been the problem they've had there. That time he gets back into his coverage very well. Elway, John's got such great confidence in his arm. He doesn't care if somebody's close. He's still going to try and drill it out.
Delay to Humphrey on 2nd and 10. Nesby Glasgow, the safety, was up at the line of scrimmage in a heartbeat and got a hand on him to help bring him down.
It's hard to run when 8 people are at the line of scrimmage. That's just Denver's going to have to start to do that to shut down Seattle's game. We've seen him make that little bit of an adjustment. Seattle feels like with Nesby up there, as long as Elway's got his hands on the football, Nesby's been assigned to him, so he'll stay close anyway.
Elway on 3rd down, 4 completions, 3 first downs. Humphrey so far, he's carried it 9 times, but only 20 yards. Straight 4-man rush again. Now here comes the blitz, and down goes Elway. Jacob Green gets the safety, but it was Eugene Robinson coming late that messed up the play.
Now what happens is if you're an offensive coordinator, you say, okay, number 22 is assigned to John. So defensively, you switch it up and you say, let's put the other safety involved in him. You got 6 defensive backs out there. Number 22 is on the left of your screen. Now, There comes number 41 because the receiver on that side was picked up by the defensive back. So it really looks like they're going to play with 2 inside safeties, either one having Elway.
Jacob Green with 106 career sacks, the 3rd man in NFL history to get to that point. Horan with the punt, and they'll let it bounce out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. And now they'll mark it outside the 25. 6:48 to go, first half of play. No return after a punt of 38 yards. Wish to all of you, especially all of our troops in the Middle East, hope they have a very peaceful Christmas. Fenner, with everybody in the world pulling behind him, he gets out to the 30-yard line. That looked like student body right, didn't it? Lucas makes a tackle again. And of course, you see the flags on all the helmets. The NFL has done that and will continue to have the players wear them throughout the course of the year through the Super Bowl as a sign of support for the some 450,000 men and women in the Persian Gulf.
Of course, a lot of families in this country will be praying that everybody comes home safe soon in a peaceful manner.
Seahawks, the running game's been shut down a little bit after they were so successful on the opening drive. 2nd and 8 here. Moving on the offensive line, that was the tight end Heller. Play continues, and Craig slides down in front of Mecklenburg at the 38-yard line.
You know, the thing is that Heller can move because he's a tight end. And he gets back and gets set down.
I don't know if he got set.
Well, here's the thing. You'll see him lower left part of your screen. There he moves. He goes back down, and he sets.
5 yards, still 2nd down.
Well, I'm assuming that once you put your hand down, you make the commitment that you're in position. And then when you get up and move, you can't. But I still don't.
The tight end can't.
I disagree with that. I absolutely do. I thought he was back down and set for a second. I think they thought it was an offensive tackle.
Second and 13 for the Seahawks. Their own 25. Clock running, 5:40 to go, first half. Craig over the middle, it's picked off. Smith back to the 27-yard line. Dennis Smith with his first interception of the year and a 13-yard return.
Dennis Smith has said all year that when the Broncos have struggled, everybody seemed to point a finger at me and blame me for the things that have gone bad. Well, here he does just a great job of reading David Craig's eyes. Cuts right in front of Mike Tice, who's come back to play tight end for him and really given him an outside running game as a blocker. But he's down here in the passing game. This one just barely gets in, and Smith makes a great interception.
Smith is 31 years old. He said that when you're losing, anybody over 30 is subject to being released. He wants to be around next year. Big break for the Broncos. Elway with all day. Now Jacob Green flushes it. Jackson once again belted out of bounds. This time he was hit by Dwayne Harper. Jackson has taken some shots, and there's Dennis Smith. They're going to have a Southern Cal safety reunion at the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I think they're having a little party. 4 of them going.
Yep.
Tim McDonald's got to feel terrible. He went last year, and he didn't have anybody with him.
Now Denver is even with Seattle with 9 interceptions. Neither secondary has been very good at turning it over this year.
Of course, Indianapolis with the fewest, but they had a big one last night against the Redskins, run back for a touchdown.
Craig hoping the defense can hold. Right now it's 2nd and 3. Humphrey cuts it outside. Glasgow was caught inside, and Robinson had to force him out of bounds. Humphrey missed a couple of weeks with that sprained ankle. Has not had a 100-yard game since. Still came into this game 4th in the conference, or 4th in the league in rushing.
We had a chance to talk to Bobby yesterday. He said after the Buffalo game, when they lost, they blew that 16-point lead. He said it took their confidence and their pride away, and they're just starting to get it back now.
1st and 10, ball spotted at the 11. Johnson, nice catch. Knocked out of bounds, spotted at the 9. Elway had some mustard on that. That was a fine catch.
Not John's forte. I would not qualify that as an Elway-style pass. Here he is sprinting out. Now, when you sprint out, you normally get a little more juice on the ball. Not that he needs it.
No.
But and that's just a super catch. I mean, you know, you're extended completely. And Vance better be careful. You know, I mean, you better make sure you're a long way out of bounds.
Gain of only 2, so it's 2nd and 8 from the 9. Humphrey on the toss. Turns the corner, banged out of bounds once again by Robinson. They'll spot it at the 1. Should be a first down. Twice in a row, they've been able to turn the corner with Bobby Humphrey.
Just a guess wrong. Nesby Glasgow's going to come up inside. See how he comes up inside? Just gets caught in the wash. Winds up being a chaser instead of a supporter, but his buddy Eugene bails him out.
1st and goal from the 1. You see the clock running, approaching 3.5 minutes. We're tied at 3. 1st and goal at the 1. Humphrey. Very close, but no signal. Boy, Cortez Kennedy made a dive at him. About a half yard to go.
Number 96, Cortez Kennedy. He said the thing that he has is quickness, and there you see him just put a swim move on and managed to get 4 yards deep penetration in the backfield to make the play.
2nd and goal. Humphrey pounds it, touchdown.
Melvin Jenkins comes up to make the hit, and he just spins off to the side. Linebackers are the only guys, I think, who can hit running backs flush and drive them back. DBs really just don't carry the weight. They don't have the load to bring with them. Watch this. He's going to come up and slides to the outside. Well, little early start by Clarence Kay, but it doesn't get caught. And as long as it doesn't get caught, you don't mind. There you see Bobby Humphrey slide to the outside for the touchdown.
Treadwell is on out of Kubiak's hold for the point after, and he's got it. So with 2:49 to go first half, we have our first touchdown of the ball game, a 1-yard Bobby Humphrey run, and it's a 1-touch lead. Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann, and our entire ESPN crew with you a couple of days before Christmas. Treadwell kicking to Jefferson and Chris Warren. Warren 2nd in the conference in kickoff return. He won't get the ball. Jefferson will. It's a 15. Very short kick. And a nice return by Jefferson. Treadwell had to force him out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Be sure to be with us tomorrow night. We'll have
than ever in my career. When we won a Super Bowl, I didn't get near as many. I mean, it's become a big business.
2:39 to go in the half for Seattle. 4-man rush, screen to Williams. Blockers in front. Boy, got a nice block from Derek Brills and down to the Denver 46. Brills got a pancake on that one and a gain of 15.
John L. does such a great job of keeping his feet underneath him and setting up his blockers. He gets the ball and just moves up and down the field.
Seattle goes with a hurry-up. Williams. 40, 38, driven out of bounds. Lilo Lang out of the University of Washington took him down. Boy, it's so special to have somebody like John L. coming into this game, rushes for over 600 yards, receiving for over 600 yards.
He's a complete back, and there aren't a lot of them that can play 3 downs. He's one who can block, run.
I'm going to go first half. Chuck Knox and Dan Reeves, and this year started off on a real shaky note for Dan Reeves. Had to undergo that procedure to clear out the arteries around his heart. One was blocked 95%, and Dan says he feels fine right now.
January 1st, he'll go back in for a checkup. He'd feel a lot better if this was the final score.
So people asked him what kind of diet he was on. He said, I'm on a very simple diet. If it tastes good, I spit it out. 1st and 10, Seattle. Craig steps up in the pocket and throws this one away. had Blades going deep down the sideline, but he was covered well by Wyman Henderson.
Not intentional grounding because he was not in the jeopardy of being sacked. That's a rule that I think they may change next year too. The intentional grounding and also in the grass. There are two rules they ought to really take a look at. Sometimes you just can't find people wide open. There's Jeff Chadwick going down the field, but of course Dave Craig was looking the other way.
Boy, Ronnie Lee, the offensive right tackle, has done a nice job tonight. He's matched up on Simon Fletcher, who is one of the premier blitzers, and Lee has kept him off David Craig. Craig gets away from the pressure. 15 and goes into the slide. He's safe at the 14-yard line. 22-yard scramble for David Craig.
You just don't think of David Craig as the running type of a quarterback, but he continues to come up with play after play, whether it be with his arm or his legs or throwing the ball away in the shotgun. Feels the pressure from the right side and up the middle. Holmes coming up the middle, Fletcher on the outside. Now he sees the open field and figures, why not? Let me get what I can get. And he's one of the better sliders too. Most quarterbacks have sometimes trouble making a decision how to get down. You know, we saw, for example, a couple weeks ago in a game, one of the quarterbacks was trying to slide down, got his knee underneath him, whacked him in the back of the head.
Coming into this game, Craig had only gained 83 yards all year rushing. That's 22 right there. At halftime, Chris Berman will be along with the pass. Craig throws short and complete down to the 10-yard line. Complete to Blades. Clock running with 1:23 to go.
The area that Seattle has spent a lot of time working on is inside the 25, so they've practiced it a lot this week. Now the question is, will it pay off?
Low for Scansey and couldn't pick it off his shoe tops. Smith might come up with that, but the ball's a little smaller. 3rd and 5. May have been offside by Denver. They jumped early. Pass complete down to the 1. Scansey loses the helmet. There's a flag down at the end of the play. He was screamed after he made the catch. And now we got everybody upset.
I'll tell you who's going to get one. Grant Feaser's going to get one.
He and Galloway really going after each other. Ronnie Lee into it with Galloway now.
Seattle's got a whole lot more at stake in this football game. They got to play with their heads. They can't let emotions get away from them.
You think this will take a while to sort out?
Well, I'll tell you, Jim Tunney's going to get rid of some people in a hurry. They're going to be ejections, not just penalties.
Ronnie Lee being escorted to the sideline, and I think Galloway will be awaiting the same fate. It was a head slap contest.
Well, first of all, they ripped Scansey's head off. He's lucky it's still attached. And then, and like anybody else, your teammates are going to defend you. And when somebody starts talking and somebody pushes in the back, and then everything happens.
Ronnie Lee out of Baylor, former Miami Dolphin, former Falcon. 12-year veteran. You'd think he would know better at this point.
Well, I admire his want to and help to his teammates, but you got to also be conscious they need you. There he just pulls his face mask right off. There's a penalty. That's a 15-yarder, although they're that close. Now here, Ronnie Lee comes up and pushes him. There's the punch. There's the other punch. There's another punch.
Number 99, Denver. Number 63, Seattle. 63, Seattle, 99, Denver. Both out of the ball game. Offsetting fouls where the pass was completed. First down, Seattle.
That hurts Seattle worse because he is the starting right tackle. Galloway, a backup defensive end. So you'll probably see Ron Mattis back in at the right tackle, former starter. And Mattis is in there now. Interestingly enough, he is the only player left on this roster from the 83, 84, 85 draft. And here's the start of the fight. And Galloway started it.
And then now it gets out of hand. I mean, and Millard's trying to just talk to him, and Feasel comes in and pushes him, and then Ronnie Lee comes in. I mean,
Well, if you could only have the control not to throw a punch back, you get a guy out and you get 15 yards.
Denver is disqualified. 22.
That's Alton Montgomery.
And that's for ripping Scansey's head off.
That's a good call.
I mean, he tears his head off.
I mean, it's one thing to grab the face mask, but
there he comes in. Now he's got the face mask.
oh,
You can hurt somebody that way. That's a good disqualification. There's no place for that. You know, Andre Waters takes a lot of heat for being a so-called dirty football player for hitting people, but yet, stuff like this, it's a good job by the officiating crew not to let this game get out of hand.
certainly is. So Montgomery and Galloway are gone.
They're not,
And so is Ronnie Lee. And we come back with 1:04 to go in the first half. The upshoot of the whole thing, it's Seattle's ball, first and goal at the 2. There goes Montgomery in the locker room.
Now, you talked about before with Galloway being a backup hurt. Denver's very short in secondary people,
Yep.
so Montgomery out. It really looks like a wash, and of course, Matt is coming in now to take Lee's place.
Of course, we remember last year, Mike Harden and Steve Largent exchanged some wicked shots early and then late in the season, the game we had out here. So maybe it's there's a couple of paybacks going on.
No love lost between these two. Absolutely none.
Back to the point about Ron Mattis, the right tackle, the only player left on the roster from the drafts of 83, 84, 85. That should be the heart of your ball club. Guys who are 5 to 7 year veterans. And it shows that Seattle has not done a good job drafting.
Linemen you expect to be around and play 7, 8, 9, 10 years together. Like, for example, Chicago's offensive line was built and played together a long time.
But again, Chuck Knox has done the job this year. There's Ron Mattis, 5-year veteran out of Virginia. First and goal at the 2, and I don't know why we still have the delay here. Oh, finally, Ronnie Lee had not left the field. And now he gets the standing ovation, as he does. First and goal. John L. Stacked up in the backfield, and they'll mark it down at the 5-yard line. Well, Denver got some good penetration up front.
This just becomes an area where who's madder than the other guy?
Yeah.
How mad am I at you? How mad are you at me? Right now, it looks like on first down, Denver is madder than Seattle.
And Seattle uses a timeout with 46 seconds to go to talk it over. Seattle still has one.
Run gave him the first down and all the penalties offset.
If you joined us late, here's how we got to this 10-3-point. Treadwell barely.
I think you got to put the ball in the hands of the quarterback with the option to run it in or else throw it. We saw on that graphic, they've been down here 4 times and managed to get -2 yards. Put it in Dave Craig's hand. Let him do something with the football.
Haven't heard much from Kane. He's flanked to the left. Tommy Kane came into this year with 13 catches in his first 2 years. He's made 45 this year and 4 touchdowns. He has really become a big part of this offense. Johnson for the tie. Plenty of time left in the half, 42 seconds. And remember, Denver will have all of its timeouts. Johnson converts.
Tommy Kane, ice.
If he'd have been as good as Mario, he'd still be playing hockey.
I know why he likes ice.
Clark and Ezor are deep to receive Johnson's kickoff. High and short. Takes the bounce right to Ezor inside the 10. Hemmed in, knocked out of bounds at the 14. Excellent job by Seattle covering the kick. 37 seconds to go, first half. What chooses to do with 3 timeouts. They'll send Humphrey up the middle for a couple. Nesby Glasgow again, right up on the line of scrimmage is that 8th defender. And it looks like Denver is going to be content to let the clock run out.
That's a good move.
You like that on the road?
I do. Well, not only on the road. I think with that many yards to go, even though you have 3 timeouts, if the ball gets batted at all, you give Seattle a chance with enough time on the clock to come back and maybe kick a field goal. Now all of a sudden you've lost momentum, but now you've lost the lead. At least it's tied going in.
They won't have to run another play. And that's the end of the first half from Seattle, where the Seahawks have come back to tie the Broncos at 10. Let's go to Chris Berman. Chris, off Jefferson inside the 5. Out to the 30-yard line. He's brought down there, and Seattle will have a 1st and 10. Dan Reeves has been driven crazy in the second half by this team. They have been a terrible second half team, particularly in the 3rd quarter. They have blown countless halftime leads, and it's one of those things that a coach simply has no answer for.
Oh, Wayne Fontes had an answer for us last week. Don't take him in at halftime. Let him stay out on the field, run a few drills, and maybe it's unprecedented, but it doesn't give you that locker room doldrum.
There you see the record. 1st and 10, Seattle. Fenner, the deep man in the eye. Play action by Craig. Throws for Tice, incomplete. Brooks was out there covering him. Take a look at the halftime stats. Passing yards, Denver's favor. Rushing yards, as you might expect. In the first half of play. Fenner. Huge hole up the middle. Atwater brings him down at the 40-yard line, but it's a 1st down. And Joe, let's go back to what you said earlier in the ball game. If you have both of the safeties playing in a 2-deep zone and the corners out wide, that middle is wide open.
Well, you just don't get that extra person. We've seen Nesby Glasgow make some plays for Seattle. Here's Carl Mecklenburg, moved back inside, but John L. Williams manages to take him on. Now, in Carl's defense, he has trouble with both his knees and will probably have surgery on at least one at the conclusion of the season.
Fenner, 7 carries, 41 yards, had a career high the first time these teams met. Play action again by Craig. Fletcher comes, loose ball. Craig 3rd on the all-time list. So much for theory.
I'm never going to talk about a guy again. All you other guys watching this game tonight, I promise, any quarterback, I'm not going to talk about anything. This is just a good defensive play. They just come around. Fletcher manages to get a hand on it. Holmes manages to knock it down. Seattle doesn't lose it because of some heads-up play by the offensive line. But that just happens sometimes when you get in traffic. Oh, come on. Look at me. Don't blame me.
Timing is everything, isn't it?
There they are.
Dan Fouts and Roman Gabriel are really hoping to get off that list. They hope David Craig has a few more.
He's at 101.
Craig with time, throws over the middle, almost intercepted by Dennis Smith at the 45, intended for Blades. Smith had one earlier.
Dennis Smith just pursuing the middle. He's just reading the eyes of David Craig. Now this ball is actually thrown behind the receiver. And he's done that. He did it to Scansey in the end zone. Of course, he did it to Blades when he was moving around. And on this particular pass, he's been a little bit behind.
I think he is the most hot and cold quarterback who has played for quite a few yards in the history, or quite a few years in the history of this league. When he is hot, he is something to watch. All-out blitz. Craig avoids it. Dumps it to Williams. Heads-up play. And Williams to the 46. It'll be shy of a 1st down, but Craig showed the mobility to get out of trouble and the smarts to dump it off to John L.
When we visited with John L., he said as of late, they've taken him away. They've double-teamed him with linebackers and linemen, with a defensive back and a linebacker. The last couple times he's caught the football, it's been through scrambles by David Craig. He's just found an open place for him to get the ball.
Rick Donnelly, who has not had a good night, as Clark waits at the 11. Nice kick this time. Clark catches it. And is down at the 12. Might have been well advised to let that one go. A return of 4 after a 47-yard punt. Tourist attractions if you're in the Great Northwest. Denver takes over at its own 12-yard line. 12:20 to go third quarter. Tied at 10. Humphrey. Seattle does a nice job of stringing it out. And this time, Glasgow did not get caught inside. Made the tackle as he tried to turn the corner. Take a look at some of the individual stats from the first half. Humphrey with 41 yards rushing. Jackson, big first half, 4 catches, 55 yards. And Dennis Smith with a nice defensive performance. For Seattle, 72 yards between Fenner and Williams rushing. And Williams also 5 catches for another 39 yards. Of course, that's what you expect out of John L. Williams. And this is what you expect out of John Elway. Humphrey on the draw. Robinson came up to make the tackle, shy of the first down at the 20. Robinson, a 6-year veteran. Glasgow was also over there, a 12-year man.
So far, this game has gone, I think, a little bit conservative from a Denver standpoint. I talked about before, when you get down around the goal line, putting the ball in the hands of David Craig. Here, it looks like they've been backed up so much, they just don't want to take a chance on throwing the football and putting it in John Elway's hands.
3rd and 2. Elway fighting the noise, gets it to Humphrey. And Seattle was waiting on the draw. Jacob Green and Nesby Glasgow and Tony Woods and a lot of other Seattle defenders.
Well, what happens is they bring guys from both corners, both the outside receivers. There's Glasgow on the lower left side. He comes hard around the corner. Now, Bobby Humphries takes the handoff 6 yards deep and winds up getting tackled a yard behind the line of scrimmage. So what happens is you get that pinching from the outside, and it's a very difficult place to pick up 1 yard when you don't have a lead back.
Mike Horan is on to punt to Chris Warren. He is the 4th leading punt returner in the AFC, averaging 9.4 returns, so Seattle should get good field position. High floating kick by Horan. Warren wanted to make the fair catch and couldn't. What a huge bounce. This is a 20 yards difference if he makes that catch in the air. They'll spot the ball at the 20, a 60-yard punt, including the roll. We're still tied at 10. Tied at 10. Let's update you a little bit on the playoff. Takes over at the 20. Cincinnati would have to lose to Cleveland next week. Fenner struggles forward a little bit. Simon Fletcher makes the tackle. Or Seattle would have to lose one of its 2 remaining games. There's a flag down on this play. And a hold will go against the Seahawks. This is their worst field position of the night.
Holding. Offense 85. McCall.
1st and 20. John L. Williams. Looked like Ron Holmes got a hand on him first, and then Simon Fletcher came up to make the tackle.
One thing that Dan Reeves talked about when we had a chance to visit with him is he said we have to stop the running game. That's going to have to be a big part of it. And secondly, you got to be able to get some bigger people up front. He needs to get some help in that defensive line. Holmes doing a good job tonight, and he can't afford to have Mecklenburg helped off.
No, he came out holding his wrist. 2nd and 18. Craig goes to the shotgun. Dumped it off to John L. Williams. Nearly got to him for a sack, and Williams is stopped for a loss at the 7 by Atwater.
Simon Fletcher over on the right side does a good job on Mattis. Manages to get that arm over. Once the defensive lineman gets the arm over, they can go pretty much the direction they want to and have the offensive lineman off balance.
We asked Simon Fletcher, since the playoffs are not in the cards for Denver, what he was playing for, and he says, well, you know, there's going to be a lot of changes next year, and I don't plan to be one of them. 3rd and 22 for Craig. Craig with a happy feet in the end zone to Scansey. Steps over one tackler to the 15. Scansey not known for his power running after he makes the catch. Couple of nifty, strong moves.
Well, I wouldn't qualify that as power running either. But nice.
I'll give him a break.
Well, it was nice up and down and moving the feet around. I mean, that was a pretty good move. Well, he's going to have a memory this year of that catch they made against Kansas City to win it at the last play of the game.
They'll have to punt on 4th and 15.
Those are the kind of things you take with you for the rest of your life. One big play in a game that keeps your team alive and wins it.
Yeah, and you hope you hang around this league long enough to get one of those. Donnelly, low line drive kick. Clark should have a good shot at returning this one. Lost his balance and went down at the 45-yard line. Brought down by James Jones, the backup fullback. Return of 4 after a punt of 40. Field position taking over at its own 46. Humphrey, here comes the reverse. Jackson. Elway trying to throw him a block, but Jacob Green made the play. What a play by Jacob Green.
What a lousy block by John Elway. I mean, not exactly the most stellar of efforts to try and throw a body at him. We talked about it earlier in the first half. You get the Seattle defense flowing. Now you come back. Jacob does an excellent job. He's not allowing Jackson to get outside, and he uses the funneling of his back to the inside for help and manages to make the play by himself.
They've run that play 4 times before this season and gained 30 yards on it, but they lost 2 this time. And Elway has not thrown a bomb that I can remember. Rifles this near side. Johnson makes the catch at the Seattle 40. That will be a first down. Dwayne Harper made the tackle.
This one comes off a play action. You don't see John here doing a lot of straight dropbacks, a lot of play actions, because Bobby Humphrey comes out of the eye. This is the end of it. He just sets and fires it. He has such great confidence in what he wants to do with the football. That one he throws perfect. The way a quarterback reads it, if the defender's inside, you throw the ball outside. If the defender's outside, you throw it inside.
11 out of 17, 113 yards for Elway. Play action. A lot of time and overthrows. Jackson, who's inside the Seattle 30. Patrick Hunter was on the coverage. Eric Hayes, backup defensive lineman for the Seahawks. Tragedy in his family earlier this week. His brother Herb passed away in Tampa at the age of 27. And he said he will be playing the rest of the season in the memory of his brother.
Just got back in yesterday.
Our sympathies go out to he and his family. And that of Fred Washington of the Bears, who was tragically killed earlier this week. 2nd and 10. Blitz. And Elway sacked at the 50. Woods got him, but it was David Wyman coming straight up the middle that flushed him out.
Seattle making the decision. It looks like the Broncos want to throw the ball right up the middle. Dave Wyman sees the center block off. Bobby Humphries tries to step up and help, but by now John Elway's been flushed, and he's getting the corner support from Tony Woods.
3rd and 20. Only the 3rd sack of the year for Woods.
Elway can quick kick.
Another blitz. Throws short. Johnson. He's taken out of bounds at the 40, well shy of the first down. Patrick Hunter made the stop.
That's why you blitz in long yardage situations. You want the quarterback to throw the blitz break off, because you know he has to get it off. It's going to be an 8-9 yard completion. You make the tackle. It's 4th down and 10. Make him punt.
And that's exactly what they've done. With 5:17 to go, third quarter, still tied at 10.
Mike Horan with the best average in the league. Probably should have gone to the Pro Bowl. You know, he kicks outside, and this is nothing against Stark. He's a great kicker, and he's going to the Pro Bowl, but the guy kicks outside in all kinds of elements, had the best average in the league.
And the best net average.
And he's going to sit home.
Trying to kill this one inside the 20 in a pretty effort. Horan can crunch it, and he can do that. They down it at the 9. 31-yard punt, no return, and Seattle will have locked up a first-round bye. John L. Williams trying to get some breathing room down here. Moves the pile out to the 15. There's a flag down on the play as Dennis Smith moves it down. First and 15. Fenner on the deep handoff. And after the opening series of the ball game, Denver has done, outside of a couple instances, a very good job at shutting down the Seattle running game.
Well, you know, and the thing is now you see Atwater up around the ball. They're getting the safeties more involved. They're defying Seattle to try and throw the ball outside to their wide receivers or try and get the ball up the field anyway. They're just saying, look, if you want to move it, you're going to have to move it in the air. Wade Phillips knows his personnel. He wants to help his corners out, and they play the 2-deep zone. I think Seattle's got to put the ball in the air.
Second and 13. They split the backs this time. Craig sends John L. out on the pattern. Just got rid of the ball. Almost a sack. Greg Cragen, the nose man, undersized at 256, fired in there and nearly got the 2 points.
Oh, and he can't believe it. He just knows he had him. Just about got him. You'll see it come from the right part of your screen. Craig stepping up in the pocket. Now he just manages to get the ball out.
That knee's down.
You betcha it is.
The knee was down, and that should have been a safety. No wonder Cragen was upset.
Whoa, and no wonder Craig's went, whoa.
And now it will be reviewed.
They're not going to like this. This place
Pass
is
play is being reviewed.
See him pointing?
Replay official is Bill Fetty.
Well, that's what's known as studying.
Well, it was pretty clear from that first angle. Here's
now,
same shot.
Watch his knee. Watch his right knee. Now, the question is the ball out of his hands? Got to be conclusive. Is the ball out of his hands when the knee hits the ground? Here you go again. Right knee. Right knee. Can't tell from that. I don't think you can tell from that.
I think from the other angle you can see that the knee does hit just before the ball comes out.
What they have
Upon review, the play stands as called. It'll be third down.
I think it's hard to tell, Michael, whether the knee is actually on the ground. You can't tell the depth. The way we're looking at it, I'm not certain whether the ball was out or not. I mean, right here you're going to see that's fast time, but now they have the ability in the booth to go click, 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 one frame at a time.
I think they needed one more click.
Okay, so we don't agree.
Third and 13. Four-man rush. Craig again under pressure. Holy cow, looked like he threw that under somebody.
That's going to call the safety. What they're going to do
Intentional grounding, safety.
Well, it's payback time.
Well, you know, I mean, he underarms this. What he basically does is get it out with no intention really to complete it. And the question is whether or not he was avoiding a sack. I think this is a heck of a smart move. He feels the pressure. Now he just underarms it.
He had Warren Powers right in front of him.
Yeah, but you should be able to throw the ball away. He's not, I mean, the thing is, he just underarms it and gets it out. Now look, throws the ball away. Okay.
He's not trying to complete that pass.
I am a quarterback at heart. What can I tell you?
I mean, you know it. David knows it. And so even the people that are booing knows he wasn't trying to complete it. But it's 2 points.
I hate the rule. I just don't like the rule. But I still think he was trying to get rid of the football.
Oh, he was trying to get rid of it. All right. Chuck Knox does not care for the call, but Denver is up 12-10. Oh, Chuck is really hot. He sees the chance for a playoff, maybe slipping away here.
I find that a very intelligent play, Mike. I don't care.
Well, I think it is a very intelligent play, but I think he was throwing the ball away.
But you're allowed to throw the ball away. But we've had how many quarterbacks go down in the last 3 weeks? Would you rather see quarterbacks get hurt, or would you rather give them a chance to throw away the football?
But they're just going by the rule that says if you throw it away to avoid a loss, it's intentional grounding. And intentional grounding in the end zone is a safety.
You're right. The rule is correct. But I don't necessarily feel like it happened in that instance. It's 2 points anyway.
Free kick. And Denver will have great field position at its own 46-yard line. We shouldn't argue like this 2 days before Christmas, you know?
We're not arguing. We're debating an issue.
The crowd showing its disapproval. Elway throws, dropped by the fullback, Terry Porter. Hit him right in the chest. Porter's only caught 3 balls this year. Cut by the Raiders. And caught his only 3 passes against the Raiders. He's in there as the starter. Melvin Bratton in Denver's doghouse for being overweight, and Dan Reeves doesn't like that. He got rid of Orson Mobley earlier in the season, the veteran tight end, because he was overweight.
Well, he has certain standards that he wants the guys to abide by, and if they don't, he has the ultimate choice whether they play or not.
2nd and 10. Movement on the line. The right guard, Doug Weidel, jumped when Elway was trying to tell Keith Kartz, his center, the audible.
False start, number 67. Still 2nd down.
That is their 5th illegal procedure penalty, and the crowd deserves 25 yards of credit. You see him turn, now he leans over, and he's just trying to tell him something, but of course, Doug Weidel can't quite tell whether it's a signal or not. He hears a noise from the quarterback.
Melvin Bratton, the man we just spoke of, at 225 pounds, is in the Denver offensive backfield. The numbers on Elway, very low yardage. Elway throws to the sideline incomplete. There is a flag down in the Denver backfield. Nesby Glasgow on another blitz chasing Elway.
And Denver doing what they had to on 2nd down. They went to the shotgun to avoid another penalty. Nesby Glasgow has become the assigned individual, number 22. He's responsible. If these backs stay in, he's going to take Elway. He'll get help over here, but this time he runs him down and goes wherever he has to go. Nesby just hanging around, waiting for John, closes the gap, does a good job avoiding the block, and that's all he's responsible in doing, is not allowing Elway a chance to get up the field.
The holding call moves it back to the 31-yard line, where it's 2nd and 25.
You see the job by the secondary. I mean, a lot of people covered.
Well, the crowd's really gotten back into this after the safety. Woods can't get him. Over the middle at midfield, incomplete. Boy, the Denver sideline wanted a flag because it looked like Harper may have gotten there early.
John Elway just scrambling around, making everything happen. As long as he's moving, oh yeah, there's no question that's pass interference. But they're not going to review. I mean, it's not reviewable. It doesn't matter.
Intended for Ricky Nattiel.
I mean, he's over the top of him big time.
Boy, and Elway is just running for his life now. 3rd and 25. And Elway just let the play clock run down. It's now going to be 3rd and 30. But that's not a bad decision. Some guys would have taken a timeout. You might need the timeout later. What's the difference between 3rd and 25 and 3rd and 30?
I think it's a difference between a quarterback that's played a while and a young guy who says, oh gosh, it's second down at 25, we got to make a play. You're absolutely right. What he's going to try and do here now is pick up 15 yards to give Horan a chance to punt the ball and get Seattle deep. See, he wants it, then he says, no, John, don't do it. That's the word that's coming out of his mouth. Don't.
You betcha. Thunder under the dome. Elway on a planned roll. Deep over the middle. Intercepted by Robinson. Eugene Robinson to the 13. There is a flag down on the play. And another fight. One of the Cardinal rules is don't throw it late over the middle. He did.
Unless you're John Elway. Actually, he's got the receiver open. He just throws this ball too high.
No foul.
You'll take a look at this. With Elway rolling out, the Seattle defense, watch what these guys do over there. Even though Elway's going to roll to this side, they all sit at home. The receiver's going to go down. There's going to be a big hole in the middle. He just overthrows it. Look at the discipline on the backside. Now there's the receiver in the middle. He's open. Just makes a bad throw. And a great job going up for the ball and keeping your balance by Eugene Robinson. Vance Johnson tries to catch it. Robinson goes up, makes a great interception, and stays on his feet.
His second pick of the year, in Seattle in business now at the Denver 12 with 2:31 to go, third quarter. John L. The cutback hasn't been there since the first quarter. He gets to the 10 where Warren Powers makes the tackle.
Defensive line at Denver, they're really keying on John L. I mean, when he's in the backfield, he's either going to be a receiver, very much involved on first and 10, or running the football.
Look at that. Second half, 26 of the 30 turnovers. 12 of Elway's 13 interceptions have come in the second half.
It's been a nightmare. I mean, there's the numbers. 1 the first, 12 the second half.
And this is a team that has won 3 of 4 AFC titles, and Chuck Knox seeing his fortunes turn around after the safety. 2nd and 9. Fenner. Seattle being very conservative here, knowing that a field goal puts them ahead.
Yeah, but what sense is there to play for a field goal with 1 minute and 30 seconds to go in the third quarter?
Put you ahead.
Yeah, but I don't buy it. I think they had him spread out the first time, put the ball in the hands of David Craig on 1st and 10 with a chance to throw or run or scramble around. He's done an excellent job with it.
And we have a Denver player slow to get up. That looks like Mecklenburg, and it is. He came off earlier holding his wrist. And Denver has also been hurt at linebacker this year, especially with their inside guys. Munford was hurt. Scott Curtis was hurt.
As we talked about earlier, the Seahawks spent a lot of time this week working on plays inside the 25-yard line. They haven't been able to get the production. There's only 22 TDs, 10 field goals, 39 possessions. Ranked 21st in the league. They're 2 for 2 tonight.
Usually teams that don't run well are the ones that have trouble inside the 20. Seattle runs well. Why do you think it is?
I think because of the way they called their plays. I think they try and run the ball. Now all of a sudden you put your quarterback in the worst possible situation. The defense knows that he's going to throw the football, so they play pass defense. They're willing to give you 5 yards and let you kick the field goal. You come out of here with a field goal, Denver's got to feel like, great, we did our job.
Minute 21 to go, third quarter. Denver leading 12-10. Seattle must win tonight and next week to have a shot at the playoffs. Andre Townsend in on the defensive line for Denver on 3rd and 9. Craig sidearms it. Blades at the 1. It'll be a first down. Blades hasn't been very involved tonight, but he was that time.
Boy, he comes up with a big catch on this one.
And what a throw. Sidearm to get it around somebody.
David throws a lot sidearm. I mean, this is built for him. He slides so well in the pocket. He's looking for Blades all the way. He sees him. Look at that. Gets it around the rush. What a great catch. Great catch.
Avoided Atwater and Smith, and there is Brian Blades out of Miami. His 41st catch of the year. First and goal. Fenner. Touchdown. Fenner, who was so productive earlier in the year with scoring, had a drought and has now come back.
We always talk about getting under people. In this case, Seattle just builds some walls, and they let Fenner pick his way through. Going right up the gut. They come right up the middle. They create that bubble. Brooks can only manage to get a forearm on Fenner and can't keep him out.
Norm Johnson for the point after. The Seahawks have taken a 17-12 lead. Second place in the NFL in touchdowns. Only Cleveland Gary and Barry Sanders in front of him.
It's a pretty elite company.
Yeah, sure is.
Plus Cleveland Gary, I mean, you really have to take into consideration, fumbled quite a bit as well this year, and he's in John Robinson's dog. Hold on to the football. He's
Are those my...
It's really not how much we
have been for the league. This number goes up into the 20s easy.
Fenner is one of those.
They had the great fullback they needed to complement.
Clark and Ezor back to take Norm Johnson's kickoff. Got all of this one. Clark 3 yards deep. He'll keep it there. And 5 seconds remain on the third period clock. Well, Denver has kept up with its third quarter scoring average. They got 2 points this quarter.
They're thrilled. I mean, they're thrilled to get out of the third quarter. They can't get this one over quick enough.
Well, that safety fired up the crowd, didn't it? And Santa.
And me.
Oh, you were fired up already. Clarence Cade bobbled it. Glasgow comes up. Gang tackle, gain of about 2. And that's the end of the third quarter. The crowd on it. Denver will keep it on the ground as they take possession after the kickoff, and Humphrey crosses the 30 to the 31-yard line.
Denver need a game.
Humphrey again. Denver playing some power football, and they get it out to the 37-yard line where Joe Kane makes the ankle tackle on Humphrey. It takes a lot of pride to come out and play hard when you're in Denver's situation, having been favored by a lot of people to go back to the Super Bowl, and they're 4-10. Humphrey on the call. First down and more. Humphrey to the 49-yard line. James Jefferson made the stop that time.
We've called Nesby Glasgow's name quite a bit, getting involved in stopping the run, blitzing and putting pressure on Elway. Here, you don't see a safety involved at all. They're running through the linebackers, and all of a sudden, downfield, Jefferson makes the play. I think that Seattle has to do basically the same thing that Denver has to do. Get the safeties up for run support.
1st and 10. Humphrey again. Not this time. Waiting for him, Cortez Kennedy. This year's Seahawks team has responded well to their adverse situation. Here's what Nesby Glasgow has to say. They'll keep it on the ground. This time it's Blake Ezor. Free agent rookie out of Michigan State, only carried 22 times coming into this ball game. Glasgow has done it for 12 years. A lot of people thought his career was over 3 or 4 years ago, but he's really resurrected it.
He has, and he's just a great competitor. He said, you know, studying film of John Elway this week, he has noticed that Elway has become that competitor that everybody had seen him be in the last few years. Earlier this year, I think he was tentative all through their Super Bowl drive last year. We comment on the fact he just didn't look like the same John Elway. Well, he's back now and playing as well as he ever has.
Elway is very good for John Elway.
Absolutely. He feels like he's involved.
Humphrey back in. Quarterback keeper for Elway. He's to the 40. That will be a first down.
Take that one step further, Michael. By coming in on Tuesday and getting involved in the meetings, the coaches sit down, they spend a lot of time putting a game plan together. What Elway does is he comes in, he looks at film with Gary Kubiak. Both the quarterbacks come in, talk about the coaching staff, what plays they like, and as the coaches talk about what would the read be on this play, now John's there. They can ask him, what would you read on that defense?
Instead of having to wait till the next day.
Right.
Humphrey and Melvin Bratton are the backfield. Humphrey, Cortez Kennedy makes the tackle as he gained 1. Kennedy at 6'3", 293, very quick. They've got him in there at this point in his career after he missed training camp to play the run because, as Joe said earlier, he missed so much time on the techniques of rushing the passer. Eric Hayes, the other rookie, is the guy they really liked as the pass rusher. Here's the Broncos in the second half, and they have not been able to do anything with the ball. Their defense scored the only points on the safety. 2nd and 9, and they complete the ball to the 30. That should be another first down. Clarence Kay.
Well, you watch a game, and I know as I'm sure people sitting at home, and as we watch it, you get a feeling somebody's in a rhythm. Right now, Denver's in a rhythm. Pick up 4 or 5 yards, break one for 8 or 9, quarterback dropbacks, 1, 2, 3, 4 sets, fires, completion. They're in a
currently 7 and 7. Humphrey goes 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Play action. Elway with the rifle, and Jackson lost it. Robinson couldn't hold it on the interception. That would have been his second after Jackson dropped what looked like a very catchable ball.
You know, we were kids growing up. They used to have that bouncing ball, and you could sing along this one. Great play action to Bobby Humphries. John hides the ball well from the defense. Now, Mark Jackson, he just cuts this loose a little bit behind Jackson, but he still should have made it. Hit him in the knee. That's you're finished batting it around. Now it's Eugene's time, and it just gets away from him. Follow the ball.
Humphrey, they string it out again. Broke one tackle, but couldn't break the second of Tony Woods, the right defensive end.
Tony Woods, we've called his name a lot tonight, making a lot of plays as well in the backfield as well as downfield. You'll see him lower right side of your screen, number 57. Plays off the block very well. Almost overruns the play in one arm, Bobby Humphrey.
Woods is a case of one of those guys who has really benefited from the switch in defense. He is a much better down lineman than he was a linebacker. The play selection on this drive, they have tried to keep it on the ground, but now they face a 3rd and 8. That ball may have been tipped. And it's incomplete, intended for Jackson. Treadwell comes on to try to cut into a 5-point lead. It will be an attempt of 45 yards. He's hit from 49 and missed from 50. Wide right. Would have made it a 2-point game. Instead, Seattle holds on to a 17-12 lead. 17-12. They'll take over at their own 27. Fenner. Flag goes down as he reaches the 33. What would you like to see Seattle do at this point?
I'd like to see them. They've run a lot of I formation. I'd like to see them come out now and utilize the play action off the I. If Denver wants...
Holding, 54 offense, penalty is accepted. It'll still be first down.
Grant Fiesel, the center.
If Denver wants to continue to try and play it with the 2 deep, take away the wide receivers, fake the ball to the running back. That'll free up John L. down the field a little bit. Also try and get the ball to your tight end against the linebackers. I think that's going to be the easiest way to move the football. I don't believe they can pound it up in there, and they're going to come up now 1st and 20.
Tom Catlin, the defensive coordinator, working on the sideline with his group. Well, Seattle needs only a field goal to have an 8-point lead. Craig flush, throws for John L. at the 28, but throws short.
Well, when he gets in trouble, he will look for John L. I mean, he has a great comprehension of where everybody is. And now what he tries to do is, if he gets in trouble, he knows that John L. is going to be someplace close by where he can dump the ball off. You mentioned earlier, Mike, about David Craig. When he gets hot, he's, plays as well as anybody in the league. But when he doesn't get hot, sometimes it can look real ugly, and tonight's one of those ugly nights so far.
He's had a couple of good moments, but on the whole, he's had some nasty-looking throws and now faces 2nd and 20. Craig hit just as he throws. Scansey can't get there at the 35. Corrington and Smith on the coverage. Mecklenburg was putting the pressure on.
John Becker, the offensive coordinator, see Mecklenburg down. He said, he hates to see Mecklenburg out there as a pass rusher. He'd much rather have Denver play him inside to try and stop the run and make tackles inside. He said he fears him most outside as a pass rusher.
Mecklenburg has been a tremendous performer for Denver ever since he came into the league. 3rd and 20 here. Broncos to rush 3. Craig down the middle, complete to Kane. The mark will be very important as to whether they have the first down or not. And they are going to mark it just shy of the sticks. Dennis Smith made the tackle.
A designed rollout. Craig will roll out to his left. They block Mecklenburg inside. Kane pushes it up the field. Now he looks for the hole. See how he looks around to find out where the defenders are? Nice job of just looking for that open space, a throwing lane for the quarterback.
4th and a yard with 7:55 and counting. And Donnelly will come on to punt to Clark. End over end short kick. But it gets to bounce. Clark on the hop. Back to the 28-yard line. Buried there by Seattle's special team. A return of 5 after a gain of 39. Trey Junkin gets credit for the tackle to make it 3-0. Norm Johnson countered in the first quarter to make it 3-3. Denver got the game's first touchdown. Bobby Humphrey from 1 yard out. It was 10-3. Seattle tied it on a Dave Craig to Tommy Kane pass in the second quarter. Third period, the only scoring for Denver. The defense got a safety when Craig was called for intentional grounding in the end zone. And then Derek Fenner has put Seattle back on top, 17-12. That brings you up to date. We have 7:40 to go in the ball game. Denver takes over at its own 29.
I think they have to open the ball up and put the ball in the hands of the man that can win it for them. That's number 7.
Got Jackson to the near side, Johnson to the far side. Throws to Johnson. First down at the 42-yard line. Wyman makes the tackle along with Jefferson.
And Elway has that capability.
Humphrey, 92 yards on 24 carries. One for the 100-yard mark. Instead, he'll go backwards, and Woods cut him down for a 2-yard loss. Woods has had a good ball game tonight.
He's been all over the field. He's making tackles on the right sideline. That time he goes to the left sideline. He's put pressure on the quarterback. They try and block him. Here he comes on the outside, stand-up linebacker. Playing the position there that he used to play as a linebacker.
They call it a loss of 1, so it's 2nd and 11. Clock becoming a factor. 5:14 and counting. Elway airs it out for Jackson. He dropped it. Jefferson may have gotten a hand in there.
They had the coverage they wanted. It was a 3-deep zone. Jefferson, he moves to the inside. Jackson takes him inside. Does a nice job. Gets away from Jefferson as he tries to grab him. Just looks back, concentrates, absolutely flat, dropped the ball. That's the second one he's dropped tonight.
Fine throw by Elway.
Put it right where he had to. Right on the money.
Oh. Got to catch those. 3rd and 11. Snap. Under pressure. Flag is down. So is Elway. Jacob Green, the other defensive end, with another sack, will check the flag. They'll turn down that holding call and make Denver punt the football.
Number 76, the far side. He gets the call. See that arm outside? Boy, and he still can't hold on to Jacob Green. Green got held and everything else and still managed to make the play.
And Green went for the football. Couldn't get it. Took Elway instead, so Haran will come on 4th and 19. Chris Warren waits inside the 10. Haran, a high, pretty kick. Warren signals fair catch and makes it at the 6-yard line. So Seattle, after a 43-yard punt, will have to start from its own 6 with 4:45 left in the game. Thanks very much. We'll be looking forward to that right after our telecast, and we have 4:45 to go in this game. Seattle taking over at its own 6. Fenner, about the 8. Cragen was in on the stop along with Atwater.
Yeah, that's what they've got to do. They've got to get the safeties out. That's the first time Atwater's really been around the line of scrimmage on 1st and 10. Most of the game, I mean, for the largest part of the game, he's been back. I just think they have to force David Craig to beat you. And there's certain things that you have to ask other teams to do. They have to ask Craig to put the ball in the air.
11 carries, 46 yards for Fenner. Well below the 144 he gained the first time he played this team. John L. Williams, student body right. Up to the 10, maybe the 11. Got a nice block from Brian Millard as pulling right guard. Randy Robbins made the stop. You see the clock, under 4 minutes.
That's one way what you do it. To try and disguise the fact that you want to run, you spread everybody out. You bring your wingman in motion. And basically, you called it, Mike. You send student body right. Nice job by Lucas. taking on the guard. Robbins comes up to make the play. Big third down here for Seattle. They don't want to punt out of this area to give Denver great field position.
3rd and 6. They'd love to keep the clock moving with 3:22 left. Craig with time, almost picked off, would have been a touchdown for Lilo Lang. And he's out of the University of Washington. You can bet he has a lot of family and friends here watching this game. What mixed reactions they would have had.
Oh, he read this absolutely perfect. Dave Craig puts the ball on the outside, right part of your screen. He makes the throw. Lang just absolutely reads it perfect. Hits him right in the hands, and it gets away from him.
Now Donnelly will have to punt out of the end zone. And Kevin Clark waits near midfield. Beautiful kick. Donnelly got all of that one. Clark all the way back to the 37. 51-yard kick, 6-yard return, and 3:01 to go in the game. Donald Miller again down on special teams makes the tackle. First round buys. Denver needs a touchdown. Elway to Clarence Kay. Got by Glasgow across midfield to the Seattle 49-yard line. Joe Kane made the stop.
This will be a modified 2-minute drill. What they'll do is they'll huddle quickly and come to the line of scrimmage. They won't go right to the ball.
2:35 and counting. Elway rifled that one, and Joe Kane got a hand on it. Looked like more like a chest on it and knocked the ball down.
John just believes he can throw the ball anywhere. Threw a great touchdown scrambling around last week that Jackson caught. Or, I'm sorry, excuse me, Michael Young caught. Here he sets and fires and just tries to squeeze the ball in a little hole.
Well, he's done it so often you can understand why he believes in it.
Sooner or later, he's going to get older and know that he can't. And then he's really going to, make some, I think, good decisions.
3rd and 3. Quarterback draw. One. First time they called it tonight. They call it on 3rd and 3, quarterback draw. Nobody bought it.
You got to figure that it's a good call because Seattle's going to be back in his zone. Here they're in man-to-man. I don't really think John gives us a chance. He doesn't allow the rush of the defensive line, so he really can't find a seam. That was almost like a let me get the ball and I'll take off and try and pick it up.
5 tackles tonight for Woods. They've all been big plays. Denver is going to let it run down to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to go. What do you like?
I like Steve Sewell out of the backfield. I think he's got great hands, and he should be isolated enough to get the yardage.
Elway over the middle. Instead, it's Young, and he has the first down at the Seattle 44. And Patrick Hunter, who was in on the tackle, is down.
It's interesting. Michael Young said that the big plays that he's caught, he's got to figure 30 or 40% of them have come when John Elway has scrambled around. He's a guy that he has confidence in. Lower left part of your screen, runs a post and hooks up. Good positioning. You keep the defender behind you and the ball in front of you.
And you were right about Sewell. John Elway was locked on him as he came out of the backfield, but he was covered.
As he goes out, you read it whether it's zone or man-to-man. Mike Shanahan on the far right, Chan Gailey, the man sitting to his right, or as you look at it, your left, going to be the head coach of the Birmingham franchise. Other assistants mentioned, David Shula with the Cowboys, June Jones in Detroit, Wade Phillips here in Denver, names that have mentioned as possible head coaching material for the new league.
Patrick Hunter, the injured Seahawk, is out of the lineup. 1st and 10. Elway to the 40, trying to get to the sticks, doesn't make it. chased out of bounds at the 36-yard line, 2 yards shy of the first down, but it's a gain of 8.
It's interesting. Elway and Cunningham both have developed skills where they'd much rather buy time running around than they would just flat take off and go. We saw Randall earlier in the game today pick up some big yardage against the Cowboys, but they both want to take it as long as they can to find a receiver to get to, and at the last minute they decide to go.
The Seahawks may apply for an NBA franchise. All their games go down to the last 2 minutes. Second and 2, pump fake and the bomb for Young. Intercepted. Picked off by Melvin Jenkins. That was a truly great play by Melvin Jenkins. He didn't bite on the pump fake. He went back and covered a guy who's got blazing speed, got his first interception of the year. That may be the play that we look back in 2 weeks that put the Seahawks in the playoffs.
Oh, it really is. Right down here, what's going to happen is Young's going to go down, do a little stutter step and go up. But this is a zone. It's 2nd down and 2. It's 2nd down and 2. You're on the 36. You want to give yourself a chance. You see the post and up move. He never bites. He does make a great play on the ball.
Played in